Hey everyone! I was on my way to sightsee the ruins of Troy when I passed by a clock tower in Charnock-Calais. Then, wow! I thought about the fascinating history of clock towers. Like, can we just appreciate for a sec how cool they are? Imagine we are all hanging out just chatting about these incredible timekeepers. Grab your fave drink, get comfy, and let's get into it. Okay, so picture this. It is like way back in the day before smartphones and even electricity. How do you think people told time? Enter the OG clock towers. These massive structures were not just about telling time, they were like the ultimate status symbol. Some of the earliest clock towers popped up in ancient Egypt and China. These early versions were pretty basic, relying on things like sundials and water clocks to keep things ticking. Can you imagine, like, having to fill a giant water clock every day? Talk about a chore. One of the most famous early clock towers is the Tower of the Winds in Athens, Greece. It is seriously old, like from the 1st century BC. This tower was like a multi-tool of its time, featuring sundials, a water clock, and even a wind vane. It was basically the ancient Greek version of a smartphone. So yeah, early clock towers were pretty much the coolest thing since sliced bread, or whatever they had back then. They were essential for keeping track of time, and they showed everyone just how important a city or building really was. Hold on to your hats, people, because things are about to get seriously clocky. The invention of mechanical clocks in the 14th century was like a total game changer. Suddenly, clock towers could be way more accurate, and they did not need those old-school water systems anymore. Imagine gears and weights all working together to keep time. It was like a giant puzzle, but instead of a picture, it gave you the time. These new mechanical clocks were seriously complex, and only the most skilled clockmakers could build and maintain them. With these new mechanical wonders, clock towers became even more impressive. They were not just functional anymore, they were works of art. Like, can we talk about the intricate designs and the beautiful clock faces? They were like the ultimate Instagram-worthy spots of their time. So yeah, mechanical clocks revolutionized the clock tower game. They made them more accurate, more complex, and way more extra. Okay, so we have established that clock towers were like the coolest thing ever. But they were not just about telling time or looking pretty. These towering structures were also major symbols of power and authority. Think about it. Whoever controlled the clock basically controlled time itself. Rulers and governments used clock towers to show off their wealth, influence, and ability to literally keep everyone on schedule. Clock towers were often built in prominent locations, like town squares or next to important government buildings. They were like the ultimate flex. Imagine looking up and seeing this massive tower, reminding you who's in charge. And let us not forget the sound of the clock tower bells. Those chimes were not just a friendly reminder to check your pocket watch. They marked important events, signaled curfews, and sometimes even warned of danger. Talk about a power move. As clock towers became all the rage in Europe, it was not long before the rest of the world caught on. From the Americas to Asia, clock towers were popping up everywhere, each with its own unique style and story. It is actually pretty cool to see how different cultures incorporated clock towers into their architecture and traditions. Islamic clock towers, for example, often featured intricate geometric designs and were sometimes used to call people to prayer. In China, clock towers were often integrated into palaces and temples, reflecting the country's rich cultural heritage. And of course, we cannot forget about the iconic clock towers of the United States, like Independence Hall in Philadelphia or the Custom House Tower in Boston. So in our digital age, you might think clock towers would be as irrelevant as like a flip phone. But guess what? They are still around, and they are still pretty darn cool. Sure, we do not rely on them to tell time anymore, but clock towers have become so much more than just timekeepers. They are landmarks, historical monuments, and even tourist attractions. People travel from all over the world to see famous clock towers like Big Ben in London or the Rajabai Clock Tower in Mumbai. And let's be real, is there anything more satisfying than watching the clock strike 12 on New Year's Eve? I think not. Clock towers have this timeless quality that just draws us in. They remind us of history, of tradition, and of the simple beauty of a well-crafted clock. All right, time for some fun facts. Because who doesn't love a little bit of trivia, right? Did you know that the tallest clock tower in the world is the Abraj Al Bait clock tower in Mecca, Saudi Arabia? It is seriously massive, standing at over 1,900 feet tall. Or how about this? The clock faces on Big Ben are actually made of opal glass, which is why they glow so beautifully at night. And get this, the Great Clock of Westminster, which is the official name for the clock inside Big Ben, is known for its accuracy. It is so precise that it has only been off by a few seconds in its entire history. Oh, and one more fun fact, the sound of Big Ben's chimes is actually a recording. The original bells cracked and they decided to just play the recording instead of trying to fix them. Clock towers are not just random buildings, they are like woven into the fabric of their communities. They are local legends, symbols of civic pride that make a town feel like, well, home. Think about it. Every town has its thing, right? The quirky diner, the weird statue, the tree shaped like a squirrel. Clock towers are like that, but on a whole other level. They have seen it all, witnessed history unfold, and stood tall through thick and thin. And when something big happens in a town, where do people gather? You guessed it, the clock tower. It is like a beacon, a rallying point, a place to celebrate victories and find comfort in times of need. Okay, imagine this. You are back in the day, pre-cell phones and Google Maps. How do you meet up with your friends? Enter the clock tower, the OG meeting spot. Seriously, think about it. Everyone knows where the clock tower is, and you cannot exactly miss it. It is like the North Star of a town, guiding lost souls or friends running late to their destination. And it is not just about practicality. There is something kind of magical about meeting someone under a clock tower. It is like stepping into a time capsule, surrounded by history and the echoes of countless meetups that came before. We have talked about clock towers as symbols of power, but it goes beyond just rulers and governments. They represent something bigger, something that resonates with people on a deeper level. Clock towers are like the ultimate symbol of resilience. They have stood the test of time, weathering storms, literally, wars, and the ever-changing whims of architectural trends. And in a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, that kind of steadfastness is incredibly reassuring. It is like this silent promise that some things, despite it all, endure. Every clock tower has a story to tell. They are like living, breathing time capsules that capture the essence of a place and its people. The architecture, the materials, the stories surrounding its construction, it all paints a picture of the culture and values of the time it was built. Take the Prague astronomical clock, for instance. It is not just a timepiece, it is a masterpiece of Gothic art and a testament to Prague's rich cultural heritage. And that is the beauty of clock towers. They are not just structures, they are storytellers, silently narrating the history and heritage of their communities. We have gushed over the beauty and symbolism of clock towers, but let us not forget the brains behind the operation, the incredible technology that makes them tick. From the earliest water clocks to the intricate mechanical systems of the Renaissance, clock tower technology has always been at the forefront of innovation. Think about it. These massive mechanisms had to be precise, reliable, and capable of withstanding the elements. That is no easy feat, people. And as technology advanced, so did clock towers. We saw the introduction of pendulum clocks, more accurate escapements, and even electrical systems. These innovations were not just about keeping time, they pushed the boundaries of engineering and paved the way for countless other technological advancements. So yeah, next time you see a clock tower, take a moment to appreciate the genius that went into creating it. Okay, can we just take a moment to appreciate clock towers? They are like the ultimate combination of history, architecture, and straight-up coolness. It is crazy to think about how these structures have witnessed centuries of human history, from wars and revolutions to everyday life. And yet they are still here, standing tall and reminding us that some things truly are timeless. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little journey through the world of clock towers. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more random tidbits and trivia. Until next time, cheers!
Thank you for watching. Hope you found this video informative and entertaining. Please subscribe, like, share, and comment. We do like to know and hear your feedback. And if you have the means, please consider supporting us on Patreon, where you can get early access to our videos, and where we post bonus material. Till next time, this is Geeky Tidbits saying cheers and have a good day.